Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Just Law on IQRA TV. I'm your host Ilyas Bulbulia and I'll be with you for the next hour. As our regular viewers are aware, on Just Law we normally discuss an area of law which is of interest to you, our viewers. Secondly, more importantly, Just Law is a live show. So whatever questions that you have on any aspect of English law, you can ring on the number that will appear at the bottom of your screen, and hopefully I should be able to give you some guidance in relation to the question that you have. On this show we should be able to cover diverse range of English law matters, ranging from immigration law, criminal matters, family matters, etc. So whatever your questions, your queries are, please do pick up the phone and give us a ring and we should be able to deal with that. On our show we get numerous questions on immigration law matters, which is fantastic, and that's one of the reasons why the topic that we choose for the show relates to immigration matters as well. Now, just a couple of points before we get going. Obviously, on a live show, we're not able to take very detailed instructions from you on the phone. We can't take very detailed information. If it transpires, having spoken to you, that your query requires a lot of very detailed information, then I will ask you to ring the control room, leave your number, and I will speak to you off air. Just another point before we get going. Obviously, again, we're live on air. We're not able to look at documents that you may have, any decision letters, etc. you may have, for example, for immigration matters. So if it transpires that I do need to look at some documents that you have in your possession, then I will arrange to look at that off air as well. But in my experience, in the vast majority of cases when we receive phone calls, we are able to deal with questions live on air and give a firm sort of view on the questions that are asked of us on air. Now, the topic for today, bearing in mind it's the first show of the year, is to do with spouse applications and how we can make a successful spouse application. Now, the reason for picking that is in practice and for our viewers, this is one of the most important topics. And even when we look at the number of calls we receive, the majority of the calls do relate to spouse applications. How somebody who is in the United Kingdom, how they can sponsor their husband or their wife or their fiance to come to the United Kingdom. And that occupies a lot of the questions that we get live on air. And in practice, a lot of the work that immigration lawyers do relate actually to spouse applications, how to successfully make an application for a husband, wife, fiance to come over to the United Kingdom. Now, as our viewers will be aware from our previous shows and a lot of them from their experience with this area, that this area has become quite a complex area in itself. Many years ago, the process that you had to go through and the requirements that you had to fulfill in order to sponsor a husband or wife to come to the UK was relatively straightforward. The rules ran to roughly a couple of sides of A4 paper, essentially talking about the main sort of requirements. There's some case law on it, but in reality it was relatively straightforward. Now what's happened is that there are very, very detailed rules which govern how these kind of spouse applications are to be made. So even if we take an example of how the financial requirement is met, there are very detailed requirements as to different categories. For example, where somebody is self-employed, where somebody is employed, where somebody is receiving dividend income. For each category you have very detailed requirements which need to be fulfilled. So it's become very, very prescriptive. And in one sense it helps because anybody who looks at the rules will know what is required of them. So it will be very specific in terms of what it is that they need to submit. But on the other hand, there seems to be very little room for flexibility. If something which is mandatory is missed out, is in the wrong format, etc., then the Home Office generally won't come back to you and ask you to rectify the error. They will simply refuse the application. Bearing in mind the kind of application fees that are having to be paid, lawyers' fees which are paid, it ends up being an expensive exercise if one's application is refused and a new application has to be made. That leads us on to one of the first issues we need to look at is the cost of these applications. We'll look at that in greater detail after we've taken our call for the day. Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Ji.
My friend, she rang you last time and she said she didn't want it to come on the TV.
Okay.
But you didn't bring her back.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm talking on behalf of her because it's very important.
Okay, that's fine. No problem.
There's two teams,
Okay.
A and B,
Okay.
and they're going through divorce.
Okay.
And team A solicitor has
Yeah.
sent a letter to team B
Yeah.
solicitor with team A's address on it.
Yeah. You okay?
And team B solicitors forward that letter
Yeah.
to other person.
Yeah. I understand.
And
Yeah.
suddenly he appeared, and believe me, my friend was like a lost sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I
Because she
understand.
has been going through for 36
Okay.
years of hellfire.
And
So what can we do to...
and her solicitor, is it her the solicitor is obviously the party representing A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So her own solicitor has by mistake disclosed her address to
That
the
is
other side,
Solicitor B.
to Solicitor B, and the Solicitor B has then forwarded on to the ex-partner, Solicitor B's
Yeah.
client. I remember the call. I think the difficulty here is that we can't, to some extent, undo what's happened, because
Yeah.
obviously now the ex-partner, ex-husband, whoever he is, he has that address. Now, even that piece of paper with the address on it, even if that's destroyed, that doesn't help us from a practical point of view, because he knows where your friend now lives. So
No, but that's what happened where my friend lives. Thank God there is some security.
I understand.
And
Yeah.
there says, you go away. They didn't even let her him in the building.
Yeah.
You go away, otherwise we'll call the police.
Yeah. Was she in a refuge at all, or
Yes.
she lived in a refuge? Yeah. So luckily, it's a refuge with some kind of security. Now,
No, they have moved her from refuge
they moved
to...
her. Okay. Okay. Has she now moved to another address?
No.
Is she able to move to another address?
No, because my friend's daughter says, Mom, don't do this, because solicitors were charging
Yeah.
money from Team A.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And she didn't have any money.
Okay.
So her cousin was supporting her, and he owes £16,000.
Substantial.
Where my friend is going to give it from?
Right.
So she was telling me if she wins the case, she will give him straight away.
Okay. All right.
And
Okay.
because of this, he's not getting in touch with anybody, not Team A solicitor, and not with her also.
Okay. So have the solicitors, have the police spoken to him now about not going to that address?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the other option is that if she still feels that she's in danger, she can, and she's been threatened at all, she can still get an injunction against the.
He has got the injunction. That's what she told me.
Well, if there is an injunction.
Because she was going to kill herself, and one of the staff saw her.
Okay.
She says, "What are you doing?" She said, "I don't want to see his face."
Okay. All right. Okay. So did she tell the solicitor, look, this is what's happened, he's turned up at my home address?
No, the staff said that.
Okay, but did
She was in her room.
Okay, so does she still have a solicitor acting for her, or has he now stopped, or has a solicitor now?
Yeah. I mean, she is, but she's worried about her cousin,
Right.
who is not even answering her.
Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, look, if her solicitor has disclosed information by mistake, then She can complain to the solicitor. If she's not happy with the response to the complaint, she can complain to the SRA, the solicitor's regulatory body. So she can complain about her address being disclosed when it shouldn't have been disclosed. So she can complain about it. Okay, if she feels that she's in danger because
no, she has got perfect protection, not only from police,
okay, all
but
right,
by her staff as well.
okay, okay. So practically, she's not in danger because there's some kind of security there. But if she's unhappy with what the solicitor's done in disclosing confidential information, her only recourse is to complain to the solicitor, to complain to there's an ombudsman as well, which covers the work that solicitors do. She can potentially complain to the ombudsman. She can complain potentially to the SRA. So apart from complaining to these bodies, to the solicitor, ombudsman, to the SRA, there isn't really anything else that she can do.
Okay.
But they're her options. There are three potential people that she can complain to about what's happened. Now, for example, if it goes to the ombudsman can say, look, this is quite serious, can potentially ask the solicitors who've disclosed the information by mistake, could say, you got to pay this person compensation. For example, could be £300, £500, whatever it is. The ombudsman has the power to require a solicitor to pay compensation for the distress that's been caused by the information being disclosed by inadvertently. So they're the options really, internal complaint, ombudsman or the SRA, really they are the options. My view would be, personally, if I was in that situation and she really wanted to do something, my view would be complain to the firm of solicitors, then just simply complain to the legal ombudsman and say, look, this is what's happened.
Okay. Because I had my operation done, so I haven't seen her, but she was talking to me over the phone.
I understand. But I think they're the best options. Internal complaint to the solicitors, and then if that doesn't resolve matters to her satisfaction, to the legal ombudsman, who can award compensation as well.
No, but what she said to me, that her ex told his daughter that his solicitor sent him a letter with party A's
address. Yeah, sorry, party A's address, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, she can complain about it, no? That it shouldn't have happened.
Okay.
She shouldn't have happened. But apart from that, there isn't anything else that can be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'll tell her.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your
you.
call. Thank you. So just going back to what we were discussing before, which is how to make a successful spouse application in order for a husband or wife to join the person in the United Kingdom. And one of the first things that we need to look at is the cost of these applications. The reason I mentioned that is approximately 2 weeks ago, the cost of making these applications actually went up. At the moment, the application fee that has to be paid for a spouse application is in the region of £1,600. And then on top of that, there is an IHS fee to be paid, an immigration health surcharge, which is an applicant's contribution to the NHS, which once it is converted in from the home currency into pounds, comes up to something in the region of about £1,100. So both fees combined at the moment for a straightforward spouse application comes up to £2,700, and that's for a standard application which takes in the region of 3 months to be processed. Where somebody wants the application to be processed more quickly, it's possible to make a priority application, and for that the Home Office charges an additional £600 for that. So where somebody is making a fast track application for a spouse visa, it comes up to, at the moment, something in the region of £3,300, £3,400. Obviously, on top of that, if you engage a lawyer to assist you with the application, there are fees on top of that as well. So we've reached a stage where potentially it's unlikely that an application for a spouse can be made where a solicitor is engaged for less than in the region of £3,500. It's a substantial cost which the parties now incur when making spouse applications. And to be quite honest, the reality is that the level of fees that are being charged at the moment by the Home Office, the idea, one of the ideas behind it is for the fees to be substantial in order to really discourage people from making these kind of applications. So that's the fees out of the way. What are the other main sort of requirements do we need to be fulfilling if you want to sponsor a husband or wife to come to the United Kingdom? Well, there are certain documents that the partner, the husband or wife who is abroad, whether it's India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, there are certain documents that they need to get together. So let's look at those documents first. What do they need to do? Let's look at that first and then look at the kind of documents that we need to collate in the United Kingdom. So what is it? Well, the applicant, the husband or wife who's applying from abroad, needs to submit a certificate in English, which is at the lowest level possible. The majority of people will do a test which is known as A1 Life Skills in English, which is a test which is sat at particular centres in one's home country. It's not possible just to rely on any certificate. There are specific English certificates that need to be submitted, and the one that is normally done in one's home country is the certificate which is known as A1 Life Skills in English. So that's one of the key documents that the applicant who is in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, wherever, that's one of the key documents that the applicant needs to get together. What other documents do applicants need to get together? Well, the other document is that they need a medical certificate. In particular, it's a certificate where the test which is done is to see whether the applicant has TB or not. So it's basically known as a TB certificate. And again, the TB certificate isn't done at any medical centre. It's done at a particular centre approved by the Home Office here. So in each country there will be these medical centres, hospitals or surgeries which carry out these tests. In each country there will be a particular centre in each major city. So again, looking at the English certificate, it's done at a particular test centre, and looking at the TB or the medical certificate, again it's obtained from a particular centre. Now these are two documents which the applicant in their home country they need to get together. Now one of the things to remember in relation to both of these documents is that both documents have a certain period of validity. As far as the English certificate is concerned, that is valid for 2 years. So within 2 years, that certificate has to be used to make an application. If an application isn't made within 2 years of obtaining the English certificate, the English certificate will be not valid, and it will be the position that the English language requirement, which requires a valid certificate to be submitted, will be regarded as not having been met. So you're going to have to do another certificate. Okay, we're going to take a short break and we'll look at these matters in greater detail after we've come back in the next couple of minutes.